Sarvai Bunza Manga Samandra Savarena Samaye Ahom Om Benza Shanjana Sadom Benza Vibhan Sarva Bunza Manga Samandra Savarena Samaye Ahom Om Benza Shanjana Sadom Benza Dibang sarva bunza manga samandra savarana samaye hong. Om benza yanjana sato benza aloke sarva bunza manga samandra savarana samaye hong. Om benza yanjana sato benza Gende sarva bunza manga samandra savaran samaye ahom bunza janjana sato bunza neve sarva bunza manga samandra savaran samaye ahom bunza janjana sato bunza Shabda sarva bunza manga samandra savarana samaya. Long press to Manjurshri. His wisdom is brilliant like the sun, free of the clouds of true words, and perceive the various traits of knowledge in the true nature. For this reason, he holds the wisdom text at his heart. He has compassion for beings who suffer from the darkness of ignorance in the presence of samsara as a father for only son. Like a thunderclap, he awakens those who are sleeping in ignorance and losing the charm of karma through the 60 branch of Haramani's speech. He wears the wisdom sword to cut the settling of suffering and to dispel the darkness of confusion. In the Buddhist hour form, he is pure from beginningless time, fully accomplished in the 10 levels and perfect in the body of all knowledge. I supplicate you, Manjurshri, adorned by the 112 Son of Buddha, to dispel the darkness of my ignorance. Tibetan. Kange lo de dim nye ten dara nye dara nam dai rab sarva. Jie nye dong gen jie yen zai se nye jie do gar lin wang zeng. Kanda zebe zorai mare meng dong dong ara jie erwe. Rozo gen lai be je dar ze yen lai zhu jie yang dian song. Ro dar jie zhoi nye moi nye long le jie jia zhou zhong ze jing. Ma re men ze dong er nyu ge jie nye jiong ze ra zhe nam. Do ne da jen sab jen tar se yong de le zoi jar se go. Jie cha jie dan ju nie jen zhe da lo men zer ju la de. You who are the perfect, youthful body, whose flame of wisdom blazes, and dispel the darkness of worldly ignorance, I prostrate before you and praise you, Manjurshri. 有那个人讲话不，一些中没让的吧，一点的梦没撒话，将不养了三大度。We go to 35, the dedication prayer there has by the light of your wisdom. Chant that first. By the light of your wisdom, compassion one, may the darkness of ignorance in my mind be dissipated to realize all the sutras and coming to this place ground with the power of radiant wisdom. 自定其真前让无所需，大律的梦明白绕三年，各单定其用罗多巴耶，罗智波本那瓦扎尔的所。Go back to page 33. At the heart chakra is a sandis on which stands the mom syllable, surrounded by the mantra circling clockwise, in golden light, like ready from the mantra, evoking all the blessings and the energies of all the Buddhas, which dissolve into the mom syllable. Again later radiates and transform the outer universe into the sphere, fueling and purify all the aspirations of sentient beings, who are then transformed into Manjurshri, or recite the mantra together. The light then returns to the syllable. Tibetan. Mumdar tukar nyade mumdar ngante serndo uje ran ye gorwe uzar chunde jarge sinte mumpe la wen chipe no yar ye Nye jo ju je sem jian zhe ba jiang, ran zhe la ju re ken jiang ha zha zhu, wu zi re zi ren de sa wo la de ne. Om wang ge xio re mo, om wang ge xio re mo. Om Wangge Shore Mo, 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 Om Wangge Shore Mo. Wangge Shore Mo, Om 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 Wangge Shore Mo. Om Wangge Shore Mo, 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 Wange Yoremo, 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 Wange Yoremo. Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. No Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, 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 Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo. Wange Yoramo, Wange Yoramo. So now I'm going to share the teaching, the Manjurshri sadhana. First, we do short meditation, so you can visualize, chant the mantra also too, or you just visualize. Do you have an image, right? It's in the book, yeah? Manjurshri image, do you have? So low to the image and close eye and low again, just visualize couple of minutes. Focus the Manjurshri image, mind resting with that. So that helps mind become connect with the Manjurshri, and then I'm going to share the teaching also. You can hear better clearly. So meditation always benefit. If you meditate before receiving teaching, also helps you become, mind understanding clearly because you can more focus to the teaching. So sometimes we have so much thoughts going on, distractions. Even you are there, but you really cannot connect with teachings, like harder to connect with because thoughts going on all the time and not easy to hear all the teachings. So that's why we're going to do short meditation first. Load the image and close eyes, focus. Tangke duje shaje reisen chong yin je me de de je bong jong ba ser je len bo da ver je pe ge shaje jar be ya la zor wan de do je jan jen de lo na ro da mar wai me lai chu je gan bo ba Pamo Rubai Jarwai Digombe Kaju Lama Nam Lai Zorwan Nejin Rewo Zenge Yengamse Yambara Tuje Sing La Ye La Mi Yeme Benzo Yalai Zorwan Gunjo do bambo war sinje lo ro me je je yen je bo ran ne som san je gen je ngo wo nye ran san je ge ngo son don ze be sa ve la me ya la zo wan de Okay, so now I'm going to share with you the prayers to Manjurshri, the teaching. Do you have this commentary, everyone, or not yet? We have to share the screen, or
Yes, many thanks.
I added a link in the chat room for everyone. If they want to do it, it's online there, so people could put it onto their, but whatever's easiest, you could also screen share too.
yeah, I think that's better. If please go
Might be
to the chat room, and there is the link to the Manjurshri text, so you can download that. So then this text is not yet completely, so we're sharing for emergency, only for use the right now this teaching. So going to more editing and more, change. So when we get the final draft, so then we can share for you. So please, this only yourself use, not for sharing and copy, others, sharing for others. So which page we are?
We are on page 7, starting with the root text. For this reason, he holds the wisdom text at his heart.
Okay, page 7. So this text is a long press to Manjurshri. Already talked like his story is before, It's composed by the 100 scholars together. So they're actually blessing by Manjurshri. Everyone composed and comes back to share each other. So all is the same, become same text. I mean the same meaning, same words, exactly same everything. So that's why it's called the composed by the 100 scholars when in the Nalanda University that time. So we have many different texts, teachings of the Manjurshri, composed by the different lineages, different also in India, the different scholars, they have many different kind of Manjurshri practicing and the text. Who's the voices, where it come from? Who is the hosting today?
I'm hosting.
Okay, so yeah, we have many different Manjurshri texts. So now we're using today the sadhana. The sadhana is a very good, not too long, not too short. It's kind of a very simple, easy way to someone wanted to like create 100,000 or 600,000 accumulation, create a mantra of Manjurshri. Use that text. Today we use that. Is very good. So they have many different kind of texts, but all is just main point is the same. Essentially, all is the same. Followed by same direction, same thing. Then they also have many different kind of Manjurshri. The press to Manjurshri, they wrote by different kind of teachers, and many teachers has a vision of Manjurshri, and they also wrote different kind of press to Manjurshri, but actually all this press also subsumed in this one. So just when you read the words is a difference, but go into subsumed meaning is exactly same in this press to Manjurshri, no much difference. So yeah, I shared you last week about this Manjurshri text, and many teachers has vision of Manjurshri. They get the lesson from Manjurshri. So people, especially who study Dharma, who meditate, practicing, have obstacles or not understand clearly. So some reasons like they don't go through the obstacle due to the obstacle, or due to the confusions, or due to the ignorance, they go back to practice Manjurshri. So then they also get blessing from Manjurshri, understanding the study, text, and also when the practice meditations become more connect with the meditation, spiritual. So that kind of, Manjurshri is a wisdom Buddha, always get blessing easily. So we practice the Dharma. We have lots, obscuration due to the ignorance, our ignorance. So that's the reason we have to press to Manjurshri and practice, meditate. Manjurshri helps us remove our ignorance, and then that helps like become connect with the Dharma, and the practice is successful, become successful. So that's why it's usually, traditionally, people who go to retreat, people who going to study and practicing Dharma, they always chant this one, press to Manjurshri, this one. So that's why I'm sharing with you this today. It's very important. When you chant there often and often, you can share yourself, is get blessing from Manjurshri. So also, if you wanted to do like 100,000 times mantra accumulation merit, you chant this, even you don't have time too much to do the sadhana, but you just chant in this press to Manjurshri, and then you create accumulation merit, the mantra. That's also possible too. So you go to the sadhana, then chant this mantra, create accumulation merit. That is great, but even you don't have a sadhana, no time to do that, or it's like hard to, many ritual things, not easy sometimes. So that's why you just go directly press to Manjurshri. That's also possible. It's great too. So now this text is followed by the just main point is 3 different levels. Press to Manjurshri's body. No, press to Manjurshri's mind first, and then press to Manjurshri's speech, press to Manjurshri's body. So press to Manjurshri's mind is actually we press to Manjurshri, help us remove our mind obscurations. Actually, we are Buddha, all sentient beings is Buddha. Everyone has the same nature. All sentient beings is a Buddha nature. That's why Buddha say all sentient beings is a Buddha, but due to obscurations, no recognize. We all are Buddha, but we have our mind is Buddha's mind. We have mind obscurations. We don't recognize we are Buddha. We are ordinary being. Long as we have mind obscurations, just we are ordinary person. So then press to Manjurshri is purify our mind obscuration. Same time create Buddha's mind qualities. What is Buddha's mind qualities? Buddha's mind quality is loving kindness and true omniscient wisdom. So that is Buddha's mind. Ordinary person's mind is, ignorance and among the, we have obscurations, like how to say the obscurations. we don't recognize we have that Buddha's qualities. We don't have enough loving kindness. We don't have enough wisdom, omniscience, because due to our obscurations. So that's why press to Manjurshri, removing the obscurations. Remove obscurations is reduce our ignorance, and then less become jealousy. So you think about where is jealousy come from. Jealousy is come from is actually ignorance. Jealousy is arise through the ignorance, and so that's why it's press to Manjurshri, press to Buddha, directly antidote to the jealousy. They indirectly antidote all the emotions. So long as we have a jealousy, then other also, see, you chant many times already. Example, we have a kind example prayer that in the talk about, long as you have jealousy, that is become strong and strong. It's anger arise, right? Hatred arise. So then hatred is result is lower realms, spiritual head realms. So that's why it's jealousy is all the causes of suffering. And we press to Manjurshri that practice actually help us reduce our jealousy and reduce our jealousy. Then we recognize others' qualities. So long as we have due to jealousy, even Bodhisattvas is there, we cannot recognize, we cannot connect with the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas because due to our jealousy. And reduce our own jealousies, you recognize. So recognize means like you seeing the other's quality. So you see the other's qualities, and then that helps us because you see the other's qualities, and you seeing other quality become that like no longer to hatred to others, no jealous to others. You seeing more others' qualities, it's become you loving to that, kindness to that person. You respect for that person, others. So that helps like become diminish our the the jealousy. So that's why this press Manjurshri is like actually not only press Manjurshri, lots every practice has press to Buddhas. The actually press is very powerful, helps the reduce our jealousy and recognize others' qualities, and then become you can connect with others, you can appreciate others, you can loving to others. Become when you see the others' qualities, and then that helps actually reduce our negative thoughts too. So that's why press is very important, especially when we this press to Manjurshri again and again, really helps like remove our jealousy, negative mind in our mind. So then that helps become loving kindness arise for others. So then when loving kindness arise for others, same time you can arise like wisdom, means like understanding. So usually our due to jealousy, we don't recognize others' qualities. Due to our jealousy, we don't love kind to enough to other beings. So that's why it's like minds become very tight. It's block the wisdom. And without wisdom, then we don't understanding, don't know the what the Buddha's qualities, all these beings, nature we don't understanding. These beings like all sentient beings used to our parents, You know, that kind, these beings actually helping for us all the time, many lifetimes, kind of many connections, lifetimes. We don't understand anything about these things. Then that's the reason we cannot connect with the spiritual. So anyway, long as it comes, lower compassion arise for other, and wisdom also arise for, arise our mind, then really connect with other beings. So that's why it's a praise to Manjurshri's mind. Praise to Manjurshri's speech. Speech is a dharma, so main point is a dharma. The Buddha shares so many teachings. So Manjurshri's wisdom, his kindness, that's why all the Buddha's teaching is under no. We can have opportunity to receive these teachings. We have opportunity to study, and practice. That is all due to the Manjurshri's wisdom and kindness. So then Manjurshri spread out all Dharma, and many beings follow the teachings, practicing. So many beings liberate. And also we practice the Dharma, we also can liberate ourselves too. So that's why it's praise to Manjurshri's speech. And then praise to Manjurshri body also coming. So now I think we are in the praise to Manjurshri's speech section. Page 7, right? Page 7?
Yes, page 7.
Thank you. Page 7, for this reason, he holds, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks. He holds the wisdom text at his heart. So Manjurshri, he holds the, in the image, you can see he holds the text is his heart. The volume Manjurshri holds at his heart. The name of the volume is the wisdom text. Its full form and the contents, the accomplishing part of all the Buddhas in its entirety. So that text is showing all the path representative. So, Manjurshri has wisdom. He can show the right path for us. His teaching is unmistaken because his knowledge, wisdom, and he shares that teaching is like different levels sharing for us. The teaching has entirety, means all the Buddha's teachings, like what beings do to the capacity, what they need, all the teaching is in there. When we speak of the Dharma of scripture, we mean the volume of the Buddha's teachings, the sutra and the commentaries. There are over 100 volumes of sutras and over 200 volumes of their commentaries. The volumes of sutra scriptures are direct accounts of the Buddha's speech. The commentaries are elaboration on the sutras written by the great Indian masters of the past, such as Nagarjuna and so forth. The inner meaning includes the truth of karmic cause and effect, love, compassion, the bodhicitta, the wisdom of emptiness, and so forth. We praise to Manjurshri wisdom volume you hold at your heart, symbolize your attainment of the true omniscient wisdom, which clearly sees nature, sees relativity and absolute truth. So the Manjurshri, he holds the text, is like representative, he sees everything clearly, is relatively true and absolute truth. And the text is like auto symbolize. Inner meaning is all the Buddha's, like, essence teaching is there. So if we follow the cause and the effect, that is a Dharma. We practice love, compassion, that is a Dharma. We practice bodhicitta, that is a Dharma. That practice wisdom, or is Dharma. So that Manjurshri has realized that symbolizes text. So then, see, author level, we have Buddha's 100 volumes, other commentaries. That's also actually due to the Manjurshri's wisdom. and still we have opportunity to study this text. So Manjurshri is actually the main essence is all the Buddha's embodiment of wisdom. According to wisdom form body is become, you know, the Bodhisattva form body. So when Buddha shared the teaching, it's all Manjushri collected this teaching and giving to other scholars in Nagarjuna, such as Nagarjuna. When then these teachers, when compose the text, you know, Buddha's like create commentaries. Each these scholars has vision of Manjushri and blessing by Manjushri. That has, you know, that knowledge to create all these texts. That's why we have 100 Buddha's text volumes and also 200 these scholars' teachings. That's all is due to actually Manjushri's knowledge and compassion wisdom. So that's why we have opportunity to study this text now. Praise to Manjushri compassion. He has compassion for all beings who suffer from the darkness of ignorance and the prison of samsara as a father for only son. So that's a root text. This root text, we have this, you know, golden, like the golden, you know, golden color, that is all root text. Manjushri has compassion. So compassion to who? Compassion to us. Why Manjushri compassion to us? Because we have so strong ignorance. Like ignorance, that's why we are kind of stuck in the samsara, in the prison, in the samsara, due to the ignorance. So Manjushri has compassion. His compassion same as a father for only son. So sometimes we say mother only love for one child, like that, same. So that kind he has compassion. So that's why Manjushri sharing the teachings due to his compassion. This line of the root text is pressing the compassion aspect of Manjushri's mind. The main point of this section is that all sentient beings are stuck in samsara without any permanent happiness. So we recognize that, we know, you know, same as us. All these beings really due to ignorance, that's the reason stuck in samsara. So that's also, you think about these words, really helps yourself too. You know, sometimes like we have so selfish ourselves, and we really don't care about others much. So when think about these words, then oh, I'm stuck in samsara. This also stuck samsara. We all beings the stuck samsara. So you think that, and then become recognize this also really, these other beings also really wanting happiness, same as me. You know, we all have same problems because due to ignorance, obscurations, emotions, right? So you think that way, it's become like other people maybe create you difficulty, or other people doing something, you know, like we say, like stupid things or incorrect things, you upset them, you know, you don't happy with them. So that time you think these words is, it's become, of course, like these beings do mistakes because we have ignorance. We all doing this kind of, you know, if I don't recognize myself, but I'm also doing like this, exactly what these people doing. So you recognize ourself situation too. So that helps become then not really, you know, hatred to other. Even no hatred means like you know, you don't really upset other people too, become other people like someone doing like incorrect things. So then you think that way, it comes more compassion to that person because we know, oh, that person also have ignorance. Due to the ignorance, have this all kind of, you know, mistakes that everyone doing. So because we are samsara, then you see, no one has permanent happiness. So we think that way, all this, every beings, what we seeing. So really think about this, or everyone stuck samsara because due to ignorance. You see that, you think that way, it's arise like compassion, like kind of mind is become more connect with others, compassion or understanding others' situations too. So usually we don't really, understanding others' situations. Even you see the animals or other people, you don't really connect and don't understanding their situations. It's just ignored or we don't care. But we see other people, we think this way, it's become like, mind is connect with them and arise compassion, loving to others too. So that's really helpful, free from happiness, these beings. No one has happiness. All sentient beings in the 6 realms of samsara, from the God realm at the top all the way to the lowest hell realm, are stuck just like prisoners in cyclic existence. So we are actually in the in the prisoner, because our prison is like samsara. We are prisoner in samsara. These all beings are stuck in there. It's so long. I'm beginning last time until now we stuck in the samsara. We are prisoner. So that also helps. We can sometimes we think you have pride. Maybe you have so strong selfish pride and like negative thoughts comes. We think this way. Oh, so I'm stuck in samsara. I'm not that perfect because I'm prisoner in samsara. So you think that you reduce your ego, and so also you see everyone is the same like that situation. Love to others too. They have all lost true happiness. We see everyone is lost happiness, not only ourselves. In samsara, each sentient being has ignorance, self-grasping, and emotions, which are the same as vast darkness. So all these problems, where it come from, because it's due to our ignorance. We don't have enough wisdom. We don't have wisdom, most just main point. That's why we are stuck in samsara. All of these sentient beings, body, speech, and mind, are stuck in the darkness of samsara, and they are not seeing anything clearly. So we don't see anything really clearly, means recognize the reality. This one not talking about your eye not seeing clearly. I think your eye seeing clearly, that's no problem. But we don't have a wisdom, your mind not really understanding what the reality situation. We don't recognize ourselves. It is like everything has become closed off, and all of these beings are suffering. So everything is closed off. So same is like, think about, we have one boat. It's like the movie is a Titanic, something like Titanic. So that is a samsara boat. Long as you get birth like that, you get in the board in that boat. So then you get in the boat. First you enjoy, like happy, and you can do so many dance, everything. But that not too long, the boat is going to sinking into the ocean, right? But no one recognize. That is ignorance, due to ignorance. Means no one seeing that, no one understand that. So exactly, there's all samsaric beings like that situation. We don't know when we're going to die, what happening. We really don't know anything, but we just know it's temporarily we are enjoying. Then let's say that boats, or we call what is called the usually the name is a different name, right? So what they call the name, the Tata, that's just like cruise,
ship?
right? Cruise.
Yeah,
Cruise
oh yeah,
ship, cruise ship, yeah. Yeah, the cruise ship. The cruise ship is, you know, there's many different levels. That is, say, samsara, 6 realms there. So then actually, see, bottom one is sinking first. The top one also going to sinking later, but no one is free from that boat. It's everyone have to go through that, right? So the boat is going to sinking, but people don't recognize. Still some other side they enjoy dancing, drink, you know, like fixing things, you know. So they try to fix everything perfectly, but that kind of this all beings going on our situations. So like that, that's why we have ignorance. We don't recognize. It is like everything has become closed off, and all of these beings are suffering. Manjurshri taught the Dharma as the method to attain liberation from suffering and to reach enlightenment. So Manjurshri sharing the teaching is free from the suffering and teach our enlightenment. By practicing Dharma, we purify our obscuration and gather accumulation of merit and wisdom, and thereby attain liberation and enlightenment. The Dharma is like, you know, means embodies the 4 noble truths, of the which the first is the truth of suffering, is that samsara is unsatisfactory. We have to recognize that suffering is the fundamental nature of samsara. First, we have to recognize this samsara is suffering. If we don't recognize samsara is suffering, then not possible to get renunciation. So without renunciation to samsara, not possible to our practice dharma is going to right direction. Still, whatever we do, the practice dharma is only just thinking about benefit in this life, or maybe benefit in future life. So you really understanding the, you know, this defect of samsara, and samsara is a suffering, samsara is unsatisfactory, then you know, thinking about your practice benefit in this life, your practice benefit in the future life to reborn to somewhere higher realms. You know, you seeking like, oh, I want to born human body, I wanted to born God's realms, like that kind of thoughts is go away, because doesn't matter where you are reborn in these 6 realms, is or is unsatisfactory. We have to recognize that suffering is the fundamental nature of samsara. We don't want to suffer, and to get rid of suffering, first we have to understand its nature. All of the suffering through the 6 realms of samsara, the realm of gods, jealous gods, human, animal, hungry gods, and hair beings, can be classified as one of 3 general types of suffering. Suffering of suffering, suffering of change, and or pervasive suffering of confusion and phenomena. So we're going to take birth into these 6 realms. That is like, because not really we have a choice. Long as we have these emotions, we're going to take birth into the 6 realms. So which emotion is the strongest? Which emotion create more karma? We're going to reborn that place, that realm. So that's why we are our own creator. We create our own, the, you know, situations. We create our own suffering. We create our own happiness. So long as we have these 6 different types of emotions, we are still go to the samsara. So then that's, you know, we don't have to ask anyone. You can recognize yourself. Long as we have these 6 different emotions, so in the dream, then see, you have a hatred in the dream. You can have a jealousy in the dream. You can have, you know, stingy in the dream, selfish in the dream. You have pride in the dream. So that kind of all going on in the dream, right? So that means like when we die, we go into the bardo, we follow these emotions. We don't have ourselves independently, liberating, can liberate ourselves independently. If someone can independently liberate ourselves, so that means like when you go to the sleep, you don't follow these emotions. So even in dream comes, you can control your own dream. So that's we have to recognize ourselves where we're going to take rebirth, future life. So I don't have confidence, when I go to sleep in the dream, I'm suffering in the dream. So that's when I wake up, recognize if I'm dying, could be I'm going to reborn to 6 realms somewhere else. I don't know where I'm going to take rebirth, but it's definitely going to reborn to samsara. So long as you're suffering in the dream, you're going to reborn to the samsara. Because that is very clearly son. We cannot independently liberate ourselves. So then you practice Manjurshri or Jan.30 all same, right? Practice Jan.30. You are in the suffering in the dream, but when you're waking up, that time, so mostly people, they say wake up, it's arise morning when you wake up. So what I'm going to do today, like what going to happen today, it's arise first. So that time, some people, practitioners, even suffering in the dream, but when they wake up, it's not arise, like maybe effort to Manjurshri is this Buddha, So that person has ability, it's liberate in the Pardo. This Jan.30 Buddhas can help them to liberate in the Pardo. So even you don't have ability to, liberate ourselves, realize our own nature, Dharma Kaya. But then we practice this Jan.30 in the Pardo, we recognize, child recognize mother like that way. So, we in the Pardo, we recognize all these suns, lights, or, this everything is like recognized Jan.30 display. That kind of also have opportunity to liberation in the Pardo. So that's why we have to, practice Jan.30, and when we go to sleep, try to visualize Buddha and go sleep, waking up, so arise that Jan.30. That helps like liberation to the Sambhona Kaya. So then all of this suffering through 6 realms of samsara. See, the samsara has 6 realms. So then suffering over suffering, we know that suffering over suffering. First, when we born already take the birth, it's become already pervasive of suffering. I told you that like long as you get the ticket board in already in the going to board this Titanic, cruise ship. So that is like pervasive of suffering. And then the boat is sinking into the water. That is called suffering of suffering. Like you enjoy happy and right away the change to become suffering, right? So that's called suffering of suffering. Happy is become changed to suffering. Suffering over suffering, suffering over change. So then, see, first is like actually think about the way example like the cruise ship, Tata cruise ship. When you bought a ticket, you board that is called the pervasive of suffering. And then you are enjoyed there in the boat. That is called is change of suffering, suffering of change, suffering of change. Then that boat is sinking into the water, right? So that is a suffering of suffering. So that is called three suffering. It's there. Pervasive of suffering is we don't recognize. See that these beings who going to buy the ticket and going to board that cruise ship, they don't recognize that the boat is going to sinking in the water. They're going to suffering. They don't recognize. Same like that. All these sentient beings, we don't recognize we are going to suffering. That's actually, long as you get in the boat, you going to stuck the suffering of change, suffering of suffering. You not free from that. So that is called pervasive of suffering. Who recognizes that? Like, see, who has a clairvoyance, they see, oh, I'm not going to buy this ticket. The boat is going to sinking into the river. So that who has clairvoyance, that person is free from pervasive of suffering. So sentient beings, these 6 realm beings have pervasive of suffering. Long as we get stuck in the samsara, that all beings have that suffering. But then, of course, the change of suffering means like people enjoy desires, but that desire is going to change, right? It's that change to suffering. So that is called change of suffering. Then suffering of suffering. So we are stuck in samsara. No, it's due to coronavirus. Many people losing their family, relatives, it's losing the jobs, so many problems. That is called suffering of suffering. There's 3 sufferings, or these 6 realms within the 6 realms. So we wanted to free from that suffering. Suffering of suffering is the abusive or gross suffering experienced by the basic of suffering, the body. The moment we are born in samsara, we have the basic of suffering, and because of our body, we experience suffering from illness and all sorts of physical problems, such as eye problems, headache, and whereas metabolic imbalances that makes us ill. So that's all is called suffering of suffering. We experience the suffering of a change. When in situation we enjoy changes into something else over time. It changes from happiness to suffering. For instance, it could be the experience you have the first time your brand new car gets scratched or dented, or when it isn't new anymore and or start to break down and becomes quite costly to repair. These types of suffering occurs constantly and not just in relation to material objects. Relationships can go sour. In the beginning, we are attracted to someone whose qualities we find delightful, but later we start to notice less attractive qualities, and eventually even those relationships that were a source of great joy can become a source of suffering. That is also the suffering of change. So that's we know. So like this, all talking about the reality, samsara's reality. We don't want to hear this, but we go through this all the time. So especially think about the change of suffering of change. That's why everyone going to get family, and all started slowly. It's gone. So that also goes like change of suffering of change. So who think about who started the family, like So we cannot say like that family is permanently still, exist. Who started is there is and its change is gone. So that is called suffering of change. Everything like that. So all the politicians, powerful kings, and all this thing about worldly, this like long histories, all go through this reality, suffering of change. So that's we have to go through this. So long as we recognize these situations, then become not really stuck with the suffering. So we know all is going to change. No one can fix these problems. So this is actually you really receive these teachings and cultivate again and again. We don't stuck with the suffering. When this kind of like sooner or later come to us, but then that time we recognize, it's suffering of change. Suffering is change, not that always stay there. Suffering of change. So we can understand and let go of that suffering. Otherwise, people get this suffering of change is stuck, and many people society, themselves, they go through this so hardship and difficulty. The all pervasive suffering of a compound phenomena is a subtle level of suffering that pervades all of the six realms of samsara. All the ordinary sentient beings are unable to perceive it. Noble beings, advanced bodhisattvas who have reached exalted level of spiritual development feel it very acutely, but we don't even notice it. It is often said that for an ordinary being, this suffering is like holding an eyelash in the palm of the hand. It isn't fair at all. However, for a noble being, it is like having the eyelash stuck directly in the eye. See, I just give you examples. The noble beings recognize this suffering because, see, noble beings seeing that suffering is like the people who are going to board the Titanic. So they recognize they're going to that suffering is so already recognize that suffering is. So that's why they're seeing that suffering clearly. We don't recognize that. We have to recognize our suffering before we can overcome it. Otherwise, we won't look for the root of our illness and then take the correct medicine to cure it. Manjurshri give us all the medicine to our cure our illness. It is up to us to take the medicine. So, see, we have this kind of problems, three different sufferings. We don't recognize, we don't try to get rid of this suffering because our ignorance. So that's why we need wisdom to understand that. And we have to press to Manjurshri, practice Manjurshri. We get blessing from the Manjurshri. We recognize all these three different levels of sufferings all beings has. So you really see this suffering all beings. Then, like we are also part of that. Then you arise compassion everyone too. Cultivate this the suffering, three types of suffering. We cultivate that, and then we also like see first like comes compassion to ourselves. Okay, no ego arise ourselves. Comes compassion ourselves. Then comes compassion our families, relatives, and others. Because everyone have go through this suffering. So sometimes we see the like some people, oh, it's not that great. It's like the harm for others and create problems for others. We actually anger to that person, hatred to that kind of person. But you really recognize that these situations really compassion, more strong compassion to that kind of person. So that's why Buddha's no hatred to anyone. See, reason is there have wisdom. They're seeing that kind of person is create causes of suffering. They're more compassion to that person. No hatred to that kind of person. Our ordinary person people means like we hatred to the other, like who create problems, you know, who make difficult for us, you know, who is not like, you know, what we wanted to do something, they who disturbing that, or you know, stop that our happiness, something we hatred to that person. That means an ordinary person. So practitioners, bodhisattvas, they're more compassion to that person, right? Because they see that person is create the causes of suffering. So that's why we have to look ourselves, we are practitioner or not. So we don't have to like get to something degree shows like, oh, I'm practitioner. So we have to look to ourselves and we think ourselves and look to ourselves, check, analyze ourselves, we are practitioner or not. So we are bodhisattva or not. Not only just receive the bodhisattva's vowels, you know. We receive bodhisattva vowels, we can connect with that, we can get blessings, but still we have to practice ourselves. So sometimes we say, oh, I receive bodhisattva vowel, I'm bodhisattva. But that's also like not really correct way to say that way, right? Because like you have to look to ourselves situation, like you have really love for truly kindness to someone who create you difficulty, problems you, then you have really kindness to that person, then you are bodhisattva. So that's hard, right? Not easy. We have recognized, so okay, so that's the main point. Then I have shown you, then Buddha said, yeah, I have shown you the way and the method to attain liberation. Know whether or not you attain liberation is up to you. So Buddha said, see, liberation is up to us. So Buddha said he can show you the method for us. I show you the way and the method attain liberation. That's why these spiritual teachers, they can give us, you know, bodhisattva vows for us and show the, you know, bodhisattva's practice, share the teachings for us, right? But know whether or not you attain, become liberation is up to us. Like we have become bodhisattva or not, truly bodhisattva is up to us. These three different kinds of suffering are very painful for all sentient beings. Manjurshri's love and compassion is very strong. It is the same as a father's love for his only son. So that's followed by root text. It is important to understand that everything that Manjurshri said, the Dharma is completely perfect. Who has a love, so kindness, then comes through that is all is perfect. You know, because Manjurshri's kindness, compassion, love, that's why is his arise this like, you know, teaching to us, sharing the Dharma teaching for us. The teaching is truth. His Dharma is completely perfect. The teaching is perfect. Out of this great compassion for sentient beings, Manjurshri discovered the nature of suffering and practice in order to reach the state of enlightenment. When he purify all obscuration and defilements. He attained the omniscience of primordial wisdom. Someone who has reached the state of completely enlightenment and is therefore completely omniscient can only show the completely perfect path. So we have to trust the Dharma, the Buddha and the Manjurshri, that we can trust the teachings. The reason is this: Buddha has compassion, pure compassion for all sentient beings, economically compassion, economic compassion for everyone, all sentient beings. Then there has wisdom. This Buddha has wisdom. That's why we can trust the Dharma. Dharma is perfect medicine. That's why we sometimes like Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is like we described, example is Buddha is the same as a doctor, Dharma is the same as a medicine, Sangha is the same as like nurse, and we are same as a patients. So that means like not just ordinary doctor who not seeking for their own benefit, doctor who really has strong compassion for, like, he's seeing the patient is the same as his own child. Then doctor that is not like ignorance, he has wisdom, he recognize which medicine helps for patient. He really understanding clearly due to his education and his compassion. Then they give the right medicine for the patient. So that example is Buddha's compassion, wisdom, and the medicine is a Dharma. So medicine can recover the illness because the doctor who has wisdom and compassion, he provide medicine. That medicine is an antidote to the illness. That medicine can recover the illness. So that is Dharma. So now, then who support us, helping for us to all the congregations and different ways helping us is we have to recognize it's a Sangha. So that's where to think, like then Dharma is become truth. We wanted to recover our illness. Main point, we wanted to free from suffering. So only practice the Dharma, we can recover free from samsara. Who can share that teaching is Buddha, because he has wisdom, he has compassion. And so who can help us? And our Sangha can help us practice together, support each other. So that's the way we have to think about practice Dharma. We can release free from samsara. Then another who has strong love for her child, where out of love, compassion for her child, only indicate the best way she knows for her child to grow up in a positive way. She will only teach the child what will benefit him. As we continue our prayers, we think in the same way, Manjurshri, you have inconceivably great compassion and love for all sentient beings. You are omniscient, so you show only the complete and the perfect path. When we practice the sublime Dharma that you talked, it will definitely benefit us, because you want to benefit, protect, and help to release all of these beings from samsara. This concludes the section on President Manjushri is mine, the true quality of wisdom and compassion. So that is like praise to Manjushri's mind. Manjushri mind, the talk about the generally two qualities: wisdom, omniscience, and compassion. So Manjushri has that two qualities. That's the reason whatever Manjushri share us is correct. He benefited for us. Manjurshri benefited for us. So now we press to Manjurshri, then that helps, like say, remove our mind obscurations, create Buddha's mind, positive qualities. We connect with that, Buddha's mind quality, create a karmic imprint. So when you receive empowerment, actually exactly followed by these three qualities. When you receive Buddha's mind empowerment, when you receive empowerment means Buddha's speech empowerment, Buddha's body empowerment. So you started this, press to Manjurshri. Actually, we receiving our Manjurshri's body empowerment, speech empowerment, mind empowerment. So empowerment means we also create Buddha's body quality, speech quality, mind quality, free from samsara. Empowerment means free from samsara, free from, body is free from the suffering, mind is free from suffering, speech is free from suffering. So that is called empowerment, means empower. We have empowered ourselves. We are free from samsara. So now that part is praise to Manjurshri. So now we go to the second one. Second, praise to Manjurshri's speech. Like a thunderclap, this is the root text. He awakened those who are sleeping in ignorance and loosens the charm of karma through the sixth branch of Haramane's speech. He wields the wisdom sword to cut the saddling of suffering and to dispel the darkness of confusion. No, that part is like praise to the speech. Manjurshri is like a thunderclap. So his voice is same as a thunderclap. He waking those who are sleeping in ignorance. Means like we are sleeping in because all beings sleeping because due to the ignorance. And losing the charm of karma through the 60. So then his losing of the charm of karma through the 60 branch of Haramane's speech. He wields the wisdom sword to cut the saddling of suffering and to dispel the darkness of confusion. So his sword, he holds the sword, right, knife, that cut our ignorance, settling that ignorance is settling of suffering. So dispel our darkness of confusion. That is the root text. So now we go to the commentary. We have already talked about the praise to Manjurshri's mind. It is due to his omniscient wisdom and the great compassion that his speech arises to benefit beings. So why Manjurshri has these second qualities? Because due to first two qualities. First two qualities is like mind's wisdom and compassion. So that's why arises this voice, thunderclap. Same is like that voice arise. Think about a mother has, kindness on child, and then very strong wisdom, omniscient wisdom. So her child, sleeping, then maybe, car or something going to the heat, then mother going to wake up child right away, right? No going to let us sleep because mother has wisdom. She knows if child is live there, and then, car is going to hit. And then that is wisdom. Then due to compassion, going to get the child waking up, lovingly waking up, right? No heat-related waking up. So think about, we talk about already cruise like Tatana ship, then who has wisdom, compassion, then not let go to brought in that shape. So the mother not let go to the board and that shape, right? So someone got in board that shape, but telling them don't go to, because waking up that person's mind. So you're going to get problem, suffering. Don't do that. So that kind of way, you think about Manjurshri has wisdom and compassion. So that reason his speech arises for benefit of beings. What does he share with his speech? Manjurshri has attained perfect realization. He has realization. He wants to others beings to become liberated, free from samsara, and to attain the samsara, same realization. That reason Manjurshri's 60 branch of Haramana speech arise in order to share all of Buddha's teaching, including what to adopt and what to discard at the different levels and the capacities that sentient beings need. So his compassion share the teachings. Due to his omniscient wisdom, he knows these all beings what they need, the different levels, the capacities levels, he shared that teaching. So example, like doctor has wisdom, compassion, he's not going to provide only one medicine for all the patients, right? They have many different patients. The doctor has wisdom that recognize these different patients need different medicine. He provides different medicines because due to his compassion. So like that way, Manjurshri has compassion. So that's why he sharing the teaching is different levels and the capacity that sentient beings what they need. And through the 60 different like branch of Haramana speech. So what their beings need, so that kind of voice they hear too. And that 60 branch of Haramana speech is, lots qualities, but we don't understanding that voice quality much because beyond our capacity. The main point is like no need a translator, okay? Manjurshri has like all this word, people in there, they can hear their own language, everyone. So then that word also like beautifully and peacefully, what they want. Someone wanted to hear wrathfully, they can hear voices like strong, wrathfully. Someone he wanted to hear very softly, gently, they can hear gently, softly. So according to their capacities, what they want, like that kind of ways they hear the voice, teachings. So that is we say Manjurshri 6 branch of Haramana speech arise in order to share all of these Buddha's teachings. So then Buddha Shakyamuni said, don't commit any wrongdoing, perfect virtue, and complete calm your own mind. This is the meaning of the Buddha's teachings. So what Manjurshri is going to share the teaching is, so including what to adopt and what to discard. So that is this Buddha says, do not commit any wrongdoing, perfect virtue, and complete calm your own mind. So this Buddha, this is the meaning of Buddha's teaching. So all of these teachings are composed of the subject of peace, compassion, and wisdom. So this Buddha, he created this short verses teaching is included all 84,000 Dharma teachings subsumed into these 3 words. When he shared these teachings, this also like these 3 different levels, don't don't commit any wrongdoing, perfect virtue, and complete calm your own mind. These 3 words also, this all beings has like their dispositions, capacities, different levels. They can hear the what to adopt and what to discard. they can hear that exactly. So followed by this, capacities. So actually, in this teaching has all the 84,000 Dharma teachings subsumed into these three categories. Buddha's teachings. So next time, like it's see example, like someone wanted to know what Buddha taught the teachings. You share only this part, then included all the teachings already there, what Buddha shares. So do not commit any wrongdoing. Also has like different levels because due to capacities, levels. And then perfect virtues and perfect virtues also like, different levels and capacities. The time your mind is like different levels, capacities too. So first, like example, this one by one is don't commit any wrongdoing is Buddha's teaching are composed of the subject of peace. That is talk about peace. Don't commit any wrongdoing. It's peace means like if you do commit any wrongdoing, it's harming for other beings. If you harming for other beings, you lose your peace. Other beings also lose their own peace too. Why we beings does that? Because due to ignorance, no wisdom. That's why we have to press to Manjurshri, and we have to practice Manjurshri, and we have to practice Manjurshri. So all the history, think about that actually every beings want happiness, but create causes of suffering, harming each other. They lose the peace each other. All the history, like see these kingdoms fight each other. No one has happiness, no one has peace become. All religions fight each other. They lose all free happiness each other, lose peace each other. So the due to ignorance. And so we think about it, in this world right now, people talk about peace. They actually all is kind of more just words. The peace is where is the peace come from? Really, truly peace come from? It's everyone stop no harming for other beings. So have to follow the cause and the effect, right? Then the true peace is arise. That is the causes of peace. Like follow the cause and the effect, karma cause and the effect. That is causes of peace. But no, in this world, these leaders also they talk about peace. But some is just like just talk, but no, only just talking. Like wanted to like people see it's great, but actually they really I don't think so. They really don't really know where the peace just come from. Then actually another hand they don't follow the causes of peace. So the causes of peace is like have to share the cause and the effect, karma cause and the effect. Buddha Shakyamuni is the creator peace in the world. He is symbolize peace in the world. So the other everyone talks peace, but it's just words. Who really have to practice. I mean share the peace means like have to first harming stop, no harming stop for other beings. So that is Buddha's first teaching. Or his peace teaching is a subsumed, don't commit any wrongdoing. So all our human beings history, no peace. Why? Because commit wrongdoing always the create causes of like harming for each other. Why we do that? Because no wisdom due to ignorance. That's why we need wisdom. All these beings need wisdom. Then really understanding, cause and effect. Really, if people have wisdoms, they arise this peace in the world. So otherwise, whatever we talk peace and peace, 1,000 times, like gathering meetings, many times, 100 times, 1,000 times, just words, nothing benefit. So no, actually we are peace gathering together, talking about. So have to talk about all this cause and the effect. That is the peace meeting. These leaders, like when they meet to talk about peace, they have to talk about this karma cause and the effect. And then they're really talking about peace. But otherwise, they're talking about peace is just nothing useless. I see that. I don't know. Okay. And then Manjurshri, okay, so that is the first part, commit any wrongdoing. So that is actually subsumed Buddha's first teaching, or really, basic teachings, all subsumed into that categories. Don't commit any wrongdoing. Perfect virtue is Buddha teaching are comprised of the compassion. So then that is a perfect virtue, is compassion teaching. So compassion means not thinking about our own benefit, right? So the more like not selfish and less grasping ourselves. So benefit for others. The compassion is for benefit others. Just much ever we can have others. Haramane each others, right? Loving kindness to each other. So that is like all the Buddha's second teaching, Mahayana teaching, is everything subsumed into that category, compassion teaching. So then this teaching, see, think about like all this problem is where it's come from, because of selfish. And I and the self is so strong. Then that's the reason we don't care each other, only thinking about I. And that is the causes of suffering. So that selfish is see, also create a suffering a whole world. Is selfish is becomes strong and like only I and thinking about myself. So that's the reason in this world actually we all these people have enough food, clothes, it can be peacefully, can stay everyone perfectly. We have all resource enough in this world because due to the collective karma and this element world has like this like resource, everything we can peacefully can stay everyone, can be everyone has a home, everyone has food, everyone can be enjoy. So then less also like many future generations can stay like that way. But due to this like selfish and self-grasping, so that's why this all world problem is going on there, because all is due to I and my. Is then people, these countries first bigger, they say, oh, this is my land, this is my country, divided. Then all the like go to state, divided, then go to families, right? All the divided, then everything's I and self. So that's why then due to that it's so strong selfish grasping, taking all the resource, do destroy all the environment, even no need, but it's due to wanting, selfish, grasping. So that's why then we don't have like some other people enough. Some one or taking some people taking everything, then taking not only our generations, that take resource or the future generations too. So that's the human beings destroying ourselves. Okay, so human being is worst being in the world, can be perfect being in the world. Either way, it's very dangerous beings in the world, human beings. We recognize that if you can benefit many others, you can enlightenment too in this life. You can free from samsara, the human beings. That is human being's capacity. Human being's capacity create all causes of suffering going to lower realms, can create that causes of suffering. So that also human being has a capacity. That's why we have to recognize ourselves like very hard to get human being's body, but this body is like human being's body is like we're doing correct way or wrong way. So we have to really have to recognize ourselves. I think we are very dangerous beings, or we are very important special beings in the world. So we can be either way, right? So that's why I say Buddha, his teaching is all is reality, truth. When he shared this second teaching, perfect virtue is compassion. The peace, compassion is never extinguished, never exhausted. That quality is means like when during the Buddha, that time, peace, compassion, every beings need that time. So until now, we need. Until there's samsaras exist, peace, compassion is needed there. Because long, see, this all beings the same is this sentient beings the same is patience. So long as patience be there is need medicine, right? The peace, compassion is medicine. These two medicine can recover illness permanently. That's why never extinguished these two medicines. That who share this is Buddha share that. So during the Buddha time, it's these kingdoms fighting each other. He had many these kings like negotiate peace agreement. Then he shared this karma cause and effect is all we actually follow that is everything's become peace. Then compassion is support each other, help each other, benefit each other, become what is like joy and happy. So long as we see, like last week I shared, long as we practice cause and effect, and then we follow this, no harming for others, and the perfect virtues, that become Devachin is in this land. Devachin is all here. We are become already Buddha in the Devachin. So why this world is miserable? Because due to the human beings, our ignorance, grasping, due to that we doing committing wrongdoing, and we don't practice virtuous deeds. We lost peace. We don't have compassion. Then the Buddha said, completely calm your own mind. So that is wisdom. If we calm our own mind, so get rid of all this ignorance, causes of samsara, causes of suffering, get rid of. So long as I calm our own mind, so then we are Buddha. We are ordinary beings, or Buddha is dependent. If our mind is not calmed, if we have emotions, then we are ordinary being. We get wisdom, our mind, so we are become Buddha. So that's why Buddha said, and charmed, compassion and wisdom. So Calm your own mind. The meaning of Buddha's teachings can be further understood as follows. So then we can follow more, like detail, but we don't have time to share today. Sorry about the time is gone. So anyway, the more teaching is like we can share tomorrow. So we can leave that today and go to the sadhana, Manjurshri sadhana. Page 34. Om Wange Shore Mo, Om Wange Shore Mo, Om Wange Shore Mo, Om Wange Shore Mo. The outer universe dissolve into the light, which is absorbed into myself, then dissolve into the Mom syllable, which dissolve from the bottom to the top nada, gradually becoming emptiness. Meditate in bliss of non-duality of subject and object. Then once again I assumed the form of Manjurshri. Tibetan no jo je ran de ran ye jang tu ker men de mere na de bar ren de ne me don zara de jin ya la yan jam bar pa ve ker jo. By the light of your wisdom, compassionate one, may the darkness of ignorance in my mind be dissipated to realize all the sutras and the commentaries. Please grant me the power of radiant wisdom. Whenever I wanted to see your own mind, want you to clarify my confusion, Lord of Manjurshri and Gaokosha. May I have a clear vision of you without hindrance. You, Manjurshri, have performed great deeds to the further limits of the 10 directions for the benefit of all sentient beings. May I and all others perform the same activities. Tibetan. Seden chujen jenra uzorje salo tomo membar absarne kadan denje yonglo dobaye. Lord Boben Nawa Zarda Sor Kanse Tavaran Dubam Junze Tawaran Dunayang Gombo Jamyan Chunyene Game Panen Tongwara Sho Soja Nanka Tardope Semjen Kendo Drubzer Jadan Jamyan Junze Ba Dark Soul Juban Tendrasho Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where is a bone may arise, where is a bone may not decline, but ever increase higher and higher, by the blessing of the Buddhas who attain the three kayas, by the blessing of the innate truth of Dharma, by the blessing of the invisible Sangha order made Mary Ashe bear fruit, by virtue as pure as white snow of the mountains. May the teachings of Rinpoche flourish in the 10 directions and dispel the ignorance of all sentient beings that they will at last achieve the Buddha's perfection of wisdom. Sanjo Semcho Rinpoche Maje Panan Je Jora Je Je Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Yang Kong Ni Kong De Pe Wa Re Sho Sanje Go So Ni Be Sin La Dang Chi Nye Men Jor Den Be Sin La Dang Gen De Me Sin De Be Sin La Je Je Da Ngo Yen Mong Lan Zhe Ba Re Sho Nam Da Kan Re Da Ka Re Ge Wan Di Ren Jian Den Ba So Je Je Ba Dang Je De Me She De Mo Nam De Yin Tar Sen San Je Yi She To Ba Re Sho. Thank you, everyone. So see you tomorrow. And I have the Manjurshri Empowerment Monday, 6 o'clock p.m. So that Zoom number is different. Zoom number is different. I can share with you.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
819540193969396. I'm going to share with you. Can you receive the I share the chat room?
I don't see it in the chat.
Get in the chat, Khenpo.
What happened then? Send. They don't have a send.
Khenpo, which room are you talking about? Is it the Vietnamese room, Zoom?
Yeah.
Maybe hit enter.
Yeah, I did enter.
If you send me the information.
Could you repeat the number? 81?
9. No. 819.
And then
540
5
193.
540 and
I just sent it, Khenpo, on the chat, so people,
Okay.
everyone, our friends can make a copy of that.
Is that accurate, Vaughn? Are you sure?
What time is it again?
It's 6
Right,
p.m.
yes,
Which
sir.
time?
9396.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's different than what Khenpo.
Is
It's
it
6
different,
p.m.
Khenpo?
No, it's right. The one was missing. At one point, the one was missing when it was spoken. So it's right as Fawn put it.
Fine, you
Yes,
said that, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And Vaughn, Vaughn, are you convinced that's correct?
Yes, as far to my knowledge. Yep. And then I think the schedule from 6 to 8 p.m. That's the empowerment on Monday. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have practice from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Khenpo will lead the accumulation of the practice on Mortgage, which is really beneficial.
Could you post that information, Vaughn?
Okay, all right. Let me find somewhere so I can cut paste.
So this teaching is Monday empowerment is requested by the Vietnamese group in Vietnam. So that Zoom, this Zoom is that Zoom. So you can join that. And we have a translator, Vietnamese translator.
Is there a password?
No password.
No password at all. Just click the Zoom. Hold on. Let me try to paste the information on the time. Sorry, I'm not that great with the.
So Khenpo, will you be speaking in English with Vietnamese translator? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Very good.
Okay, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Khenpo.
so much,
See you
Khenpo.
tomorrow.
Thank
See
you,
you
Khenpo.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khenpo, for
Thank
all the
you,
precious
yeah.
teaching.
Thank you.
I hope the meeting doesn't close until Fawn
Thank
posts something.
Oh,
I did post the
Oh, good.
time
Thank you.
and also the Zoom link. And everyone, please make a copy. If not, then, ask Debbie or Marilyn or even at DDSC. And we'll be happy to provide that again for you.
Presumably,
you.
Debbie or Marilyn will send out links for, if they're applicable, to the text you just sent out, Fawn. I mean, to the chat you just posted.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Fawn.
Thank you, Fawn.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Fawn.
Thank you, Fawn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mwah. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Adios.
Bye.